Shaun, everyone give a thumbs up for Shaun Attwood. Come on, Shaun.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on, man. It's about time we spoke about these demonic networks that initiate people through these dark ceremonies, let's say. Perhaps Clive Davis brandishing his bishop, exposing his crown jewels to Diddy, Diddy thereby turning around, allegedly doing this to Justin Bieber, ingratiating Justin Bieber into these evil acts. And round these networks go, whether it's here in the UK right now. We've got a gaggle of rent boys, aka male models, aka male escorts, young East European looking lads who have been firebombing Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister's residences and his cars. And this is all over the news this week. And the mainstream media are absolutely not looking into the backgrounds of these
people. What
do
you mean firebombing? Like, what does that mean? What do you mean by firebombing?
Two of our Prime Minister's properties have been set on fire and a car, and they've arrested 3 people this week. The first one was a 21-year-old Ukrainian male escort, allegedly. The second one, they've just put a picture of the second one out today, and he looks like a boy band member from the 1990s.
It looks like Boy George in his prime.
They've arrested a third one who's older, and I imagine when they put the picture of him out, he's going to look like Gary Glitter. If this had happened in America, if Trump was getting firebombed, his properties were getting firebombed by young rent boys, aka male prostitutes, the press will be all over it. But
that's insanity. So this is catching fire like worldwide, man. This is all coming out. We finally hit that precipice, that climax in all of this where it's just all coming out. I believe the music industry, at least as we knew it, is over with. It's done. All this stuff that's coming out on Diddy, everything that's coming out, it's over. Game over. Nail in the coffin, because who's going to come after Diddy? Jay-Z? What actors are going to fall? Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe? I'm just naming names here that have been to the parties, but they're coming next.
So 2 things that Suge Knight pointed out to us was Diddy pissed off Diageo, which is a UK company which is 10% owned by BlackRock. And by filing this racism lawsuit and winning in court, BlackRock were just slobbering, waiting, foaming at the mouth for this to take advantage of the Cassie video. And as soon as that video came out, they pounced. But Diddy is a terrible person. I mean, another thing that Suge told us was that Diddy was pimping Justin Bieber out to elites.
Yeah, but Justin Bieber's rep made a statement, and he was like, he's not a victim of Diddy, which we all know the truth on that. Like, why do you think Justin Bieber is just too scared to admit anything?
It's written all over his face, bro. He's looking like Jesse from Breaking Bad after a 2-week meth rampage. When you see the state of him, look at his eyes, his shrunken, sunken face. His soul is burning up with whatever Diddy did to him. And Suge Knight told us Diddy was pimping Justin out to elites, males, older corporate CEOs, execs.
I've heard certain boxers. I've heard certain boxers too. I'm not going to name who, but I've heard boxers as well. I'm champion boxers. Anyone can guess at that one.
It's an equal opportunity profession, apparently. If you've got enough money to take a young person and do these R-wording things to them and indoctrinate them into these satanic deeds. And this is the network that, Whitney Webb has told us about, that Ryan Dawson has told us about. And every now and then it reveals itself, whether it's the Cassie video, whether it's Jimmy Savile here in the UK getting exposed after his death, whether it's young male prostitutes firebombing Keir Starmer's house. The people at the top of power are psychopaths. They are compromised. They have been put in positions whereby, for example, Bill Clinton, when he was the governor of Arkansas, he was in multiple cocaine frenzied situations with females that later became sexual assault lawsuits. And Trump brought these women to the debate with Hillary. And what did Hillary do? When she found out about these things, she had private investigators track them down. People were thrown off balconies. Pets were murdered.
Yeah, look at the video that Trump just put up on Truth Social about Hillary, and then Obama. I mean, it caught the whole internet on fire, man. This is insane. There you go.
I've got a whole chapter on the Clinton body count in my book, Who Killed Epstein. They had a coroner called Fahmy Malik, who, when Bill Clinton's mom was working in the medical profession, somebody died. And Fahmy Malik came in and enabled a cover-up so Bill Clinton's mother wouldn't get in trouble. So they were down with him for the rest of his career. If anyone died in Arkansas when Bill Clinton was governor, they could be shot in the head. Fahmy Malik would say they drowned him in a swimming pool. This is how preposterous his rulings were. If you look at the case of the boys on the tracks, where the two kids went and saw the drug drop, CIA drug drops were coming in. Barry Seal was one of the pilots, and Bill Clinton was providing the state police to secure these drug drops.
Wow.
Two kids witnessed these drug drops, Don Henry and Kevin Ives. They murdered them. They moved their bodies to the train tracks, put tarp over them, and said that a train had run over them. And the coroner, Fahmy Malik, who was in Clinton's pocket, determined that they had smoked so much of the green, they had gone into a psychedelic trance and lay side by side on the train tracks, and the train had run over them. But one of the parents worked on the train tracks, and they knew it was suspicious right away. The blood, it was not fresh blood. And Linda Ives, God bless her, she confronted Bill Clinton so many times, and he just completely ignored her and would not give her the answers that she was seeking. But the bottom line is Bill Clinton got the White House. One of the reasons is because he played ball with the Bush crime family and the CIA. They were bringing the drugs in, the white powder from the South, and they were parlaying this into financing the Contras in Nicaragua. And because Bill Clinton played ball with the Bush crime family and the CIA, he was given the White House. They chose Arkansas to do the drug drops because Clinton was the sleaziest, most corrupt governor in all of the states. And Hillary, all she cared about was their rise to power. Rose Law Firm, I mean, Larry Nichols, God bless him, he blew the whistle on Rose Law Firm. If you wanted to get your money recycled, your drug money, you made a contribution to Rose Law Firm where Hillary Clinton worked. And then the Arkansas Development Finance Authority, ADFA, which was set up to create jobs in Arkansas and help the local economy, they would give you a loan that you never had to pay back. And that's how they laundered the drug money through Arkansas. The cash in the Arkansas banks went through the roof.
And you've been covering this pretty damn extensively, haven't you? You've been really following all of this. I mean, damn, you wrote a book on it.
I've written 17 books on it, David. I've written a series of books deconstructing the war on drugs and mass incarceration. I've written several books about Epstein. I've written a book called Clinton, Bush, and CIA Conspiracies.
What's your thoughts about Cash and Dan Bongino coming out saying, he really did self-delete?
Who did self-delete? Jeffrey?
Yeah, they're coming out saying, there's no suspicious anything here. There's no conspiracy. He really did self-delete.
All right, I just want to first say RIP Virginia. We've collaborated with Virginia for many years. She was the tip of the spear. She brought down Randy Andy, the Queen's favorite son. This cockroach is still trying to scurry back into doing royal duties, and Charles is complicit in that, but he needs to go. And we researched the hell out about what happens to Jeffrey Epstein in that jail. I've interviewed so many people about it, including Nicholas Tartaglione. I've spoken to him, I've corresponded with him, who was the cellmate, the big multiple homicide cop, who the drug deal gone bad, who I believe got a quid pro quo for the first attempt on Epstein, because Epstein said my cellmate tried to kill me, but then they moved Tartaglione out. So what happened was they moved the new cellmate out, who was supposed to be watching Jeffrey because he was on the unalive watch, what they have in the prison there to prevent people from unaliving themselves. Both guards fell asleep simultaneously, which had never happened in the history of that jail since its inception in the 1970s. And if you look at the reports, they said they fell asleep, they were doing online shopping and all this stuff. And then the assassin gets in there. We've got the strangulation, we've got the fracture of the hyoid, which so many medical experts have said there's no way he just leant forward.
It's bull.
And did this damage to his
neck. So then can we
trust
trust Cash Patel and Dan Bongino? I mean, because if they're coming out saying that to the public, right away that raises alarm bells and red flags for me. And I know Cash. I've had Cash on my show. I trust Cash. I don't understand. Is there a method to the madness here? Why would they be?
There's a method to the unaliving because they did the exact same thing to Jean-Luc Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel was the second most important procurer after Ghislaine Maxwell Jeffrey boasted he'd slept with over 1,000 of these young East European teenage girls from the Jean-Luc Brunel pipeline. They were fast-tracked in by immigration, given automatic visas, put in these properties in New York, owned by Epstein, owned by Wexner, and Wexner needs to be looked at. And these girls, Jeffrey said, according to Virginia in the lawsuit, she said that Jeffrey boasted that Brunel had given him 12-year-old triplets as a birthday present.
Wow.
And their oral skills were absolutely wonderful. And this was at the orgy on the Virgin Island where Virginia was present.